Emma stood in the center of her small studio apartment, surrounded by canvases of varying sizes. Her latest piece, a vibrant swirl of blues and greens depicting an abstract ocean, leaned against the wall, drying. The scent of oil paint hung in the air, mingling with the faint aroma of coffee from her perpetually full French press. She took a step back, scrutinizing the painting with a critical eye, searching for any final touches she might have missed. Tonight was the night. Her first major solo exhibition at the prestigious Orion Gallery. For months, she had poured her soul into these paintings, each brushstroke a reflection of her dreams, fears, and memories. This was her chance to finally make a name for herself in the fiercely competitive New York art scene. Emma's heart raced with a mixture of excitement and anxiety as she thought about the evening ahead. She glanced at the clock. Just a few hours left. Her phone buzzed, breaking her concentration. It was a text from Maya, her best friend and fellow artist. "You ready for tonight? Can't wait to see you shine." Emma smiled, her anxiety easing a little. Maya had been her rock throughout this journey, always offering encouragement and a listening ear. She quickly typed back. "Almost ready. Nervous, but excited. See you there." Emma took a deep breath and moved to her tiny bathroom to get ready. She tied her unruly curls into a loose bun and applied a touch of makeup, just enough to highlight her features without overshadowing her natural look. She chose a simple yet elegant black dress, something that wouldn't distract from the art but still made her feel confident. As she finished getting dressed, her mind wandered to the art world's reactions. The critics, the collectors, the enthusiasts, all of them would be there scrutinizing her work. But one name stood out among them: Daniel Parker. Known for his brutally honest reviews, Daniel was a critic whose words could make or break an artist's career. The thought of his piercing gaze sent a shiver down her spine. Emma shook off her nerves and grabbed her portfolio, ready to head to the gallery. As she stepped out into the bustling streets of New York, she felt a wave of determination wash over her. She had worked too hard to let fear hold her back now. The Orion Gallery was already buzzing with activity when she arrived. Emma was greeted by Clara, the gallery owner, a chic woman in her 50s with an eye for emerging talent. Clara had taken a chance on Emma, and for that she was eternally grateful. "Emma, darling, you look stunning," Clara exclaimed, giving her a warm hug. "Everything is set up beautifully. I just know tonight is going to be a success." "Thank you, Clara. I couldn't have done this without you," Emma replied, her gratitude evident in her voice. As the evening progressed, the gallery filled with guests. Emma mingled, trying to absorb every bit of feedback and encouragement from the attendees. Her friends and supporters, including Maya, gathered around her, their excitement palpable. Amid the sea of faces, she finally spotted him, Daniel Parker. He was standing by one of her larger pieces, his expression unreadable. Emma's heart skipped a beat as she watched him scrutinize her work. He was tall, with a sharp jawline and piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through the canvas and into her soul. Summoning all her courage, Emma approached him. "Mr. Parker, I'm Emma. Thank you for coming tonight." Daniel turned to face her, his gaze steady and intense. "Miss Williams, your work is intriguing." Emma couldn't tell if that was a compliment or a prelude to criticism. "I appreciate your taking the time to look at it. I'd love to hear your thoughts." He raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "I'm sure you will, in due time." With that, he moved on to the next painting, leaving Emma standing there, her heart pounding. She could only hope that his written words would be kinder than his enigmatic expression. As the night drew to a close, Emma felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. The exhibition had been a success in many ways, but the real test would come with the reviews. She thanked Clara and her friends before heading home, her mind racing with thoughts of what the future might hold. Back in her apartment, she collapsed onto her bed, exhausted but hopeful. Tonight had been a significant step forward, no matter what the critics said. She had put herself out there, and that was something to be proud of. Little did she know, this night was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge her, change her, and ultimately bring her closer to a man who saw beyond the paint and canvas to the true artist within. Emma drifted off to sleep, dreaming of colors and possibilities, unaware of the storm that was about to enter her life. in the form of one Daniel Parker. Daniel Parker sat at his mahogany desk in his elegantly furnished apartment, the soft light from a desk lamp illuminating the pages of a manuscript he was editing. The room was a blend of modern minimalism and classic charm, with a collection of art books lining the shelves and a few select paintings from renowned artists adorning the walls. A half-finished glass of scotch sat beside his laptop, the amber liquid catching the light. Daniel was known throughout the New York art scene as a critic with an unyielding eye and a pen that could cut as sharply as a scalpel. His reviews were detailed, precise, and often brutally honest. Artists both revered and feared his opinion. It was a reputation he had earned over years of meticulous study and an unwavering commitment to the integrity of art. He rubbed his temples, feeling the strain of a long day. His phone buzzed, breaking his concentration. A notification from the magazine he wrote for. He picked it up and read the message. "Daniel, need you to cover Emma Williams' exhibition tonight. She's an emerging artist making waves. Your insight will be invaluable." Daniel sighed. He had heard whispers about Emma Williams. An artist with raw talent, they said, but raw talent alone was not enough. It needed to be honed, refined, and perfected. He glanced at the clock. There was still time to prepare. He rose from his chair and moved to the window, gazing out at the city that never slept. Daniel's mind wandered to his own beginnings. He had once been an aspiring artist, full of dreams and visions, but a series of personal losses and professional disappointments had turned his passion for creation into a critical eye for others' works. His transition from artist to critic had been gradual, marked by the erosion of his own dreams and the sharpening of his analytical skills. He had learned to see the world through a lens of realism and skepticism, traits that now defined his critiques. His thoughts were interrupted by the doorbell. It was Veronica, his ex-wife, and a successful gallery owner herself. Their relationship had been a complex tapestry of love, ambition, and eventual estrangement. Veronica still played a role in the art world, and occasionally their paths would cross. "Daniel, you're a hard man to find," Veronica said as she entered, her tone a mix of teasing and exasperation. "Veronica, always a pleasure," he replied, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. "I heard you're reviewing Emma Williams tonight. She's quite the talent. You should be gentle with her," Veronica said, her expression softening. "Gentle?" Daniel raised an eyebrow. "You know that's not my style. Besides, the art world isn't gentle." "True, but sometimes a little encouragement goes a long way," she countered. Daniel shrugged. "We'll see." After Veronica left, Daniel prepared for the evening, donning his usual attire of a tailored suit and a crisp white shirt. He prided himself on his professionalism and the image he projected. He, Ari, vet at the Orion Gallery, immediately recognizing the energy of a rising artist's debut. The gallery was buzzing with anticipation, filled with critics, collectors, and art enthusiasts. As he made his way through the crowd, he observed the paintings with a critical eye. Emma's work was vibrant and full of emotion, but he could see areas that needed improvement. Her technique was still rough around the edges, and her compositions, while ambitious, lacked a certain finesse. He made mental notes, preparing to articulate his thoughts later. He spotted Emma from across the room. She was surrounded by admirers, her face glowing with excitement and nerves. She had an undeniable presence, and he could see the passion in her eyes. It reminded him of his younger self, a time when he believed in the power of art to change the world. Daniel approached one of her larger pieces, a bold and colorful representation of an abstract seascape. He stood there, analyzing every brushstroke, every color choice. He could feel Emma's eyes on him, watching his every move. When she finally introduced herself, he could sense her apprehension. "Mr. Parker, I'm Emma. Thank you for coming tonight," she said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Ms. Williams, your work is intriguing," he replied, his tone neutral. "I appreciate your taking the time to look at it. I'd love to hear your thoughts," she said, her eyes searching his for any sign of approval. He raised an eyebrow, offering her a small enigmatic smile. "I'm sure you will, in due time." With that, he moved on to the next painting, leaving Emma standing there, her heart pounding. Daniel continued his tour of the gallery, his mind racing with thoughts on how to construct his review. He respected Emma's passion, but respect alone was not enough to spare her from his critical gaze. As the night came to a close, Daniel returned to his apartment and sat down to write. He poured himself another glass of scotch, the liquid burning a trail down his throat, sharpening his focus. His fingers flew across the keyboard, each word chosen with precision. His review began with an acknowledgement of Emma's potential. He praised her vibrant use of color and her emotional depth, but did not shy away from highlighting the areas where she fell short. He critiqued her technique, her composition, and her occasional lack of focus. It was a balanced review, but it was also honest, and he knew it would sting. When he finally hit send, he leaned back in his chair, feeling the familiar mix of satisfaction and melancholy. He thought of Emma, her hopeful eyes and determined spirit. She reminded him of what he had once been, and perhaps what he had lost along the way. As he finished his drink, he couldn't help but wonder if Emma would take his words to heart, if she would use them to grow and refine her talent. He hoped she would, for the sake of art, and perhaps for a glimmer of redemption in his own soul. Daniel's review was published the next morning, sending ripples through the art community. Emma's journey was just beginning, but for Daniel, it was a reminder of the complex, often painful world of art, where dreams and critiques collided, forging the path to greatness. Emma stood in front of her mirror, giving herself one last critical look. The elegant black dress she had chosen was simple yet sophisticated, hugging her curves in all the right places. She adjusted a stray curl, tucking it behind her ear. Tonight was the culmination of months of hard work, sleepless nights, and unyielding dedication. She took a deep breath, trying to calm the flutter of nerves in her stomach. She glanced around her small studio apartment one last time, ensuring everything was in order. Canvases were neatly stacked against the walls, and her workspace, though cluttered, was a testament to her creative process. She grabbed her clutch and portfolio, filled with prints of her work, and headed out the door. The streets of New York City buzzed with their usual energy, but tonight everything felt heightened. Emma hailed a cab, her heart pounding in rhythm with the city's heartbeat. The ride to the Orion Gallery seemed both endless and too short. As the cab pulled up to the gallery, Emma could see the crowd gathered inside through the large windows. She swallowed hard, paid the driver, and stepped out, determined to face whatever the night had in store. Inside, the gallery was a whirl of activity. Art enthusiasts, collectors, and critics mingled, their voices blending into a hum of anticipation. The walls were adorned with Emma's paintings, each one meticulously placed to create a narrative journey through her artistic evolution. The lighting was perfect, casting a warm glow on the canvases and bringing out the vibrancy of her colors. Clara, the gallery owner, spotted Emma and made her way over, a bright smile on her face. "Emma, darling, you look absolutely stunning. Everything is perfect. I just know tonight will be a huge success." "Thank you, Clara. I couldn't have done it without you," Emma replied, her gratitude sincere. Clara gave her a quick hug before being pulled away by another guest. Emma took a deep breath and began to circulate the room, greeting guests and listening to their feedback. The positive comments and genuine interest in her work were a balm to her anxious soul. She felt a surge of confidence, bolstered by the support of her friends and fellow artists, who had come out in full force. Maya, her best friend and fellow artist, approached, her eyes sparkling with pride. "Emma, this is incredible. Look at all these people here for you. I knew you could do it." Emma smiled, feeling a rush of warmth. "Thanks, Maya. I'm just so glad you're here with me." As they chatted, Emma's eyes kept drifting toward the entrance, searching for one particular figure. Daniel Parker. She knew he was coming, and the thought filled her with both dread and anticipation. His presence could mean the difference between a triumphant night and a devastating blow. Suddenly, the energy in the room shifted, and Emma knew he had arrived. Daniel Parker stood at the entrance, his tall, commanding presence impossible to ignore. He was impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, exuding an air of confidence and authority. His piercing blue eyes scanned the room, taking in the art and the people with equal scrutiny. Emma's heart raced as he made his way through the crowd, stopping occasionally to examine a painting or exchange a few words with a guest. When he finally reached her largest piece, a bold and colorful representation of an abstract seascape, he paused, studying it intently. Emma watched him, her breath caught in her throat. Gathering her courage, she approached him. "Mr. Parker, I'm Emma. Thank you for coming tonight." Daniel turned to face her, his gaze steady and intense. "Miss Williams, your work is intriguing." Emma couldn't tell if that was a compliment or a prelude to criticism. "I appreciate your taking the time to look at it. I'd love to hear your thoughts." He raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "I'm sure you will, in due time." With that, he moved on to the next painting, leaving Emma standing there, her heart pounding. She tried to read his expression, but it was as enigmatic as ever. She could only hope that his written words would be kinder than his enigmatic expression. As the night progressed, Emma continued to mingle with guests, her confidence growing with each positive interaction. She felt a surge of pride as collectors expressed interest in purchasing her work, and critics offered their praise. Despite her nerves, the evening was turning out to be a success. Toward the end of the night, Daniel approached her again. "Miss Williams, congratulations on a successful exhibition. Your work has certainly sparked a lot of interest." "Thank you, Mr. Parker. That means a lot coming from you," Emma replied, trying to gauge his tone. He gave her a small, thoughtful nod. "I look forward to seeing how your work evolves." With that, he left, leaving Emma with a sense of both relief and lingering apprehension. The night had been a whirlwind of emotions, but she had faced it head-on and come out stronger. As she helped Clara and the gallery staff clean up, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Back in her apartment, she collapsed onto her bed, exhausted but hopeful. Tonight had been a significant step forward, no matter what the critics said. She had put herself out there, and that was something to be proud of. Little did she know, this night was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge her, change her, and ultimately bring her closer to a man who saw beyond the paint and canvas to the true artist within. Emma drifted off to sleep, dreaming of colours and possibilities, unaware of the storm that was about to enter her life, in the form of one Daniel Parker. Emma awoke the next morning with a sense of lingering excitement from the night before. The exhibition had been a whirlwind of emotions, and she was still riding the high of the positive feedback she had received. She stretched lazily in bed, savouring the rare moment of relaxation. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, pulling her from her reverie. It was a message from Maya. "Have you seen the reviews yet?" Emma's heart skipped a beat. This was the moment she had been both dreading and anticipating. She took a deep breath and opened her laptop, navigating to the art magazine's website where Daniel Parker's reviews were published. There it was, prominently displayed on the homepage. Emerging Talent, Emma Williams, a critical review by Daniel Parker. Emma clicked on the link, her fingers trembling slightly. The review began with an acknowledgement of her potential. Daniel praised her vibrant use of colour and her ability to convey emotion through her work. Emma felt a brief surge of relief, but it was quickly overshadowed by the following paragraphs. Daniel's critique was detailed and incisive, pointing out the areas where her technique needed refinement and her compositions lacked focus. He noted that while her work showed promise, it was still raw and unpolished. Emma read the review in silence, her emotions a tumultuous mix of gratitude for the praise and hurt from the criticism. She appreciated Daniel's honesty, but it was difficult not to feel the sting of his words. Just as she was finishing the review, Maya called. Emma answered, her voice subdued. "Hey, Maya." "Hey, I just read it. How are you holding up?" Maya asked, her concern evident. "I'm okay, I guess. It's tough, but I knew this was a possibility. At least he sees potential in my work," Emma replied, trying to stay positive. "Absolutely. And he's right about one thing. You have incredible talent. This is just the beginning for you. Use his critique to grow and improve," Maya encouraged. "You're right. Thanks, Maya. I needed that," Emma said, feeling a bit more grounded. After hanging up, Emma took some time to process her thoughts. She decided to channel her emotions into her art. She spent the next few hours in her studio, painting with renewed determination. Daniel's words echoed in her mind, guiding her brushstrokes as she worked to refine her technique and bring more focus to her compositions. Later that afternoon, Emma decided to take a break and visit a nearby cafe. As she sipped her coffee, she couldn't help but overhear a group of patrons discussing the exhibition and Daniel's review. It was a strange feeling, hearing strangers analyze her work and her potential. "Did you see Emma Williams' paintings? They were so vibrant and full of life," one woman said. "Yeah, but did you read Parker's review? He was pretty harsh," another replied. "He's always harsh. But if he sees potential in her, that's a good sign. Means she has something special," a man added. Emma felt a mix of pride and frustration. She knew she had something special, but hearing others discuss her flaws was tough. She finished her coffee and headed back to her apartment, more determined than ever to prove herself. That evening, as she was cleaning her brushes and preparing for another day of painting, her phone rang again. This time, it was Clara, the gallery owner. "Emma, I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing after the review," Clara said warmly. "I'm okay, Clara. It was tough to read, but I'm taking it as constructive criticism. I'm determined to improve," Emma replied. "That's the spirit. Remember, Daniel Parker's reviews are meant to challenge artists, not break them. Use his critique to fuel your growth. You have immense talent, Emma, and I have no doubt you'll continue to rise," Clara encouraged. "Thank you, Clara. Your support means a lot," Emma said, feeling bolstered by her mentor's words. After hanging up, Emma sat down at her desk and pulled out her sketchbook. She began jotting down ideas and sketching new compositions, each one incorporating the feedback she had received. As she worked, she felt a sense of clarity and purpose. This was her path, and she was determined to walk it with strength and resilience. As the night wore on, Emma reflected on the journey ahead. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was ready to face the challenges and grow as an artist. Daniel Parker's review had been a wake-up call, but it had also ignited a fire within her. She was more determined than ever to succeed, not just to prove Daniel wrong, but to prove to herself that she could rise to the occasion. With renewed focus and determination, Emma continued to work late into the night, her heart and mind set on the path to greatness. The collision with Daniel Parker had been a jolt, but it was also the catalyst she needed to push herself further and strive for excellence. This was just the beginning of her journey, and she was ready for whatever came next. Emma's resolve was stronger than ever. She had faced her first major hurdle and emerged with a clearer vision and a renewed commitment to her art. The path ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to embrace it, one brushstroke at a time. Emma spent the next few days in a whirlwind of emotion and activity. The gallery was abuzz with the aftermath of the exhibition, and she received a steady stream of calls and messages from friends, fellow artists, and potential buyers. Despite the mixed reviews, there was a palpable sense of excitement about her work. Yet, Daniel Parker's critique lingered in her mind, a constant reminder of her need for growth and refinement. As she prepared for an upcoming public art event, a major showcase where artists and critics alike gathered to discuss the latest trends and works in the art world, Emma felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. She knew Daniel would be there, and the thought of confronting him filled her with both dread and determination. She wanted to defend her work, to prove that she could take his criticism and rise above it. The event was held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, one of the most prestigious venues in the city. Emma arrived early, dressed in a chic yet understated outfit that allowed her to blend in while still exuding confidence. The grand hall was already bustling with activity, filled with the hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses. Emma spotted Clara, who waved her over with a warm smile. "Emma, darling, you made it. How are you feeling?" "Nervous but ready," Emma admitted, her eyes scanning the room for any sign of Daniel. Clara nodded understandingly. "That's to be expected. Remember, this is a great opportunity to network and get feedback. Take it all in stride." Emma took a deep breath and nodded. As she moved through the crowd, she exchanged pleasantries with other artists and critics, trying to focus on the positive feedback and constructive criticism she received. Yet her thoughts kept drifting back to Daniel. Finally, she saw him, standing near a display of contemporary art. He was deep in conversation with another critic, his sharp blue eyes scanning the room intermittently. Gathering her courage, Emma made her way over to him, her heart pounding with each step. "Mr. Parker," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Daniel turned, his expression unreadable. "Miss Williams, good to see you." Emma took a deep breath. "I read your review. I wanted to thank you for your honesty. It was hard to read, but I appreciate your insight." Daniel raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "I'm glad to hear that. Many artists don't take criticism well." "I'm not most artists," Emma replied, her eyes locking onto his. "I know I have a lot to learn, but I'm determined to improve. Your feedback is valuable, even if it's tough to hear." Daniel's gaze softened slightly. "That's a commendable attitude. Too many artists get lost in their own egos and refuse to see where they can grow." Emma felt a surge of determination. "I'm not here to defend my work blindly. I want to understand where I can do better. But I also believe in the emotions and messages I'm trying to convey. Art isn't just about technique, it's about connection." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. "You're right. Art is about connection, but without a solid technique, the message can get lost. It's a balance." Their conversation was interrupted by another critic who wanted Daniel's opinion on a piece. As Daniel excused himself, Emma felt a mix of frustration and relief. The confrontation had been brief, but she had said what she needed to. She had stood her ground and expressed her commitment to growth. As the evening progressed, Emma continued to mingle and engage with other attendees. She found herself in a conversation with Leo, a well-known sculptor she had admired for years. They discussed their respective works, and Leo offered her valuable insights into her technique and style. "You have a raw, emotional quality to your work that's rare," Leo said. "But I agree with Parker. You need to refine your technique. It's like having a powerful voice, but needing to learn how to control it to really captivate your audience." Emma nodded, taking in his words. "That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I want to improve without losing the essence of what makes my art unique." Leo smiled. "You're on the right path. Keep pushing yourself." As the event drew to a close, Emma felt a sense of accomplishment. She had faced Daniel Parker, defended her work, and received valuable feedback from some of the most respected figures in the art world. It was a challenging yet rewarding experience. Back at her apartment, Emma reflected on the evening's events. She felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The confrontation with Daniel had been a pivotal moment, forcing her to articulate her vision and commitment to her art. She knew the road ahead would be tough, but she was ready to face it head-on. The next morning, Emma returned to her studio with a clear plan. She began working on a new series of paintings incorporating the feedback she had received. She experimented with different techniques, refining her brushstrokes and compositions, while staying true to her emotional and expressive style. Days turned into weeks as Emma immersed herself in her work. She kept a journal, documenting her progress and reflecting on her artistic journey. Each day, she felt herself growing stronger and more confident in her abilities. One evening, as she was cleaning up her studio, her phone rang. It was Clara. "Emma, I have some exciting news. A prominent gallery in Chelsea is interested in hosting a solo exhibition of your new work. They were impressed by your exhibition at Orion and have been following your progress." Emma's heart leapt with excitement. "That's amazing, Clara. Thank you so much for believing in me." "You've earned it, Emma. Keep up the great work," Clara said warmly. As Emma hung up, she felt a surge of gratitude and determination. The journey was far from over, but she was making strides. She had faced the critic's shadow and emerged stronger, ready to continue her path to artistic greatness. Emma's confrontation with Daniel Parker had been a turning point, challenging her to grow and refine her craft. With renewed focus and determination, she continued to push herself, proving that she was not just an emerging talent, but a force to be reckoned with in the art world. The road ahead was filled with both challenges and opportunities, but Emma was ready to embrace them all, one brushstroke at a time. Emma's momentum from the art event carried her through the next few weeks. She spent long hours in her studio, refining her technique and experimenting with new styles. Her determination to grow as an artist was palpable in every brushstroke, and her work began to reflect a newfound depth and maturity. One afternoon, as she was working on a particularly challenging piece, her phone buzzed with a message from Clara. "Can we meet at the gallery tomorrow? I have something important to discuss with you." Emma's curiosity was piqued. She replied quickly, agreeing to the meeting. The rest of the day was a blur of anticipation, her mind racing with possibilities. The next day, Emma arrived at the Orion Gallery, the familiar space filling her with a sense of comfort and nostalgia. Clara greeted her warmly and led her to a private office at the back of the gallery. The room was cozy, adorned with beautiful artwork and plush chairs that invited relaxation. "Emma, thank you for coming," Clara began, her tone serious but kind. "I've been following your progress closely, and I must say, I'm incredibly impressed with how you've grown since your last exhibition." Emma smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Thank you, Clara. Your support means everything to me." Clara leaned forward, her expression thoughtful. "I have an opportunity for you, but it's one that will challenge you even further. Daniel Parker is curating a prestigious art workshop, and he has specifically asked for you to join." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Daniel Parker? He asked for me?" "Yes," Clara confirmed. "He sees potential in you, Emma, and he believes that this workshop could help you reach new heights. It's an intense program, but I believe it could be incredibly beneficial for your growth as an artist." Emma's mind raced. The idea of working closely with Daniel Parker, the critic who had both challenged and motivated her, was daunting, but it was also an opportunity she couldn't ignore. She took a deep breath, her determination solidifying. "I'll do it. I want to learn and grow, and if this is the way to do it, I'm in." Clara smiled, a look of pride and satisfaction on her face. "I knew you would say that. I'll make the arrangements and get you all the details. The workshop starts next week." The following days were a whirlwind of preparation. Emma packed her supplies, reviewed her portfolio, and mentally prepared herself for the challenges ahead. She knew that the workshop would be demanding, but she was ready to face it head-on. The day of the workshop's start arrived quickly. Emma found herself standing outside a large, modern studio space in the heart of Manhattan. The building exuded creativity, with large windows allowing natural light to flood the rooms, and high ceilings that provided a sense of openness. As she entered, she was greeted by a flurry of activity. Artists of various disciplines and styles were setting up their workspaces, their expressions a mix of excitement and nervousness. Emma felt a sense of camaraderie among them, knowing that they were all here to push their boundaries and grow. Daniel Parker stood at the front of the room, his presence commanding but not intimidating. He greeted each artist individually, offering a few words of encouragement or critique. When he reached Emma, his gaze was steady, his expression unreadable. "Miss Williams," he said, extending his hand, "welcome to the workshop. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do." "Thank you, Mr. Parker," Emma replied, shaking his hand firmly. "I'm ready to learn and grow." Daniel nodded, his eyes briefly scanning her setup. "Good. We'll start with a group session, and then you'll each have time to work on your individual projects. Remember, this is a place to experiment and push your limits. Don't be afraid to take risks." The first group session was intense. Daniel guided them through various exercises designed to break down their creative barriers and encourage new ways of thinking. Emma found herself challenged in ways she hadn't anticipated, her mind expanding with each task. Over the next few days, Emma immersed herself in the workshop. She experimented with different techniques, incorporating feedback from Daniel and her fellow artists. The atmosphere was both supportive and competitive, driving everyone to do their best. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Emma found herself alone in the studio, the other artists having left for the night. She was working on a large canvas, trying to capture a complex interplay of light and shadow. Frustration bubbled up as she struggled to get it right. "Having trouble?" a voice asked, breaking the silence. Emma turned to see Daniel standing at the doorway, his expression thoughtful. "Just a bit," she admitted, stepping back from the canvas. "I can't seem to get the shadows to blend the way I want." Daniel walked over, examining her work closely. "You're overthinking it. Sometimes you need to let the paint guide you. Don't try to control it too much." He picked up a brush and demonstrated, his movements fluid and confident. Emma watched, absorbing his technique. She took the brush from him and tried again, this time letting go of her need for perfection. The result was a beautiful, organic blend of shadows that added depth to her piece. "Much better," Daniel said, stepping back to admire her work. "You have the talent, Emma. You just need to trust yourself more." His words resonated with her. She realized that part of her struggle had been an internal battle with self-doubt. With Daniel's guidance, she felt a renewed sense of confidence and purpose. As the workshop continued, Emma and Daniel's interactions became more frequent. They discussed art, technique, and the emotional underpinnings of creativity. Emma began to see a different side of Daniel, a mentor who genuinely cared about helping artists grow. One afternoon, after a particularly enlightening session, Daniel approached Emma with a proposal. "There's an exhibition at the end of the workshop," he said. "A chance for each of you to showcase what you've created here. I'd like you to be a featured artist." Emma's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? That would be incredible." Daniel nodded. "You've shown remarkable growth. Emma, I believe your work deserves to be highlighted. It will be a chance for you to show the world how far you've come." Emma felt a surge of pride and gratitude. "Thank you, Daniel. I won't let you down." As the workshop drew to a close, Emma poured her heart and soul into her final pieces. She felt a sense of accomplishment and growth, knowing that she had pushed her limits and emerged stronger. The exhibition was a culmination of her journey, a testament to her dedication and the guidance she had received. The night of the exhibition arrived, and the gallery was filled with attendees, including critics, collectors, and fellow artists. Emma's work was displayed prominently, each piece reflecting her evolution as an artist. She felt a sense of pride as she saw people admiring her paintings, discussing their depth and emotion. Daniel approached her during the event, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. "You did it, Emma. You've grown so much, and it shows in your work." "Thank you, Daniel," Emma replied, her voice filled with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance." He smiled, a rare but genuine expression. "You had it in you all along. You just needed to believe in yourself." As the night drew to a close, Emma felt a sense of fulfillment and anticipation for the future. She had faced challenges, confronted her doubts, and emerged stronger. The proposal to join Daniel's workshop had been a turning point, opening doors to new opportunities and growth. Emma knew that this was just the beginning. With renewed confidence and determination, she was ready to continue her journey as an artist, embracing the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. She had found her voice, and she was ready to share it with the world. Emma's experience at the workshop had been transformative, challenging her to grow and refine her craft. With Daniel's guidance and the support of her fellow artists, she had discovered new depths to her talent and confidence in her abilities. The journey was far from over, but Emma was ready to face it with strength and determination, knowing that she had the potential to achieve greatness. Emma arrived at the workshop studio on the first day, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anxiety. The space was vast and open, with high ceilings and large windows that flooded the room with natural light. Artists were scattered around, setting up their workstations and mingling with one another. The air was filled with the scent of fresh paint and the hum of creative energy. As she made her way to her assigned space, Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. This was where she would spend the next few weeks pushing her limits and refining her craft under the watchful eye of Daniel Parker. She set down her supplies and began organizing her materials, her mind racing with anticipation. "Hey, you're Emma, right?" A voice interrupted her thoughts. Emma turned to see a tall, lanky man with a friendly smile and a paint-splattered apron. "Yes, that's me," Emma replied, smiling back. "And you are?" "Leo," he said, extending his hand. "I'm a sculptor. I've seen your work at Orion Gallery. It's really impressive." "Thank you, Leo. It's nice to meet you," Emma said, shaking his hand. She felt a sense of relief at the friendly interaction. As they chatted, more artists joined their conversation, and Emma found herself quickly forming connections with her peers. There was Rachel, a talented photographer with a keen eye for detail, and Javier, a mixed-media artist known for his innovative techniques. The diversity of talent in the room was inspiring, and Emma felt a sense of camaraderie among the group. Daniel Parker entered the studio, his presence commanding immediate attention. He greeted each artist with a nod or a few words of encouragement, his demeanor both authoritative and approachable. When he reached Emma, he gave her a brief nod and a small smile. "Miss Williams, I hope you're ready to push your boundaries, Daniel said. I am, Mr. Parker. I'm looking forward to the challenge, Emma replied, her voice steady. Daniel addressed the group, outlining the structure of the workshop. Mornings would be dedicated to group sessions, where they would engage in exercises designed to break down creative barriers and encourage new ways of thinking. Afternoons would be for individual work, allowing each artist to focus on their projects and incorporate what they had learned. The first group session was intense. Daniel led them through a series of exercises that forced them to think outside the box and challenge their preconceived notions about art. They painted blindfolded, created sculptures from unconventional materials, and engaged in rapid-fire sketching sessions that emphasized spontaneity over precision. Emma found the exercises both exhilarating and frustrating. She struggled to let go of her need for control and perfection, but as the session progressed, she began to see the value in Daniel's methods. By the end of the morning, she felt mentally and physically exhausted, but also inspired. During the afternoon, individual work time, Emma focused on a new series of paintings. She experimented with different techniques, incorporating the lessons from the morning session. She tried to let the paint guide her, as Daniel had suggested, allowing her emotions and instincts to drive her creativity. As the days went by, Emma found herself growing more comfortable with the workshop's demands. She developed a routine, arriving early each morning to set up her space and staying late into the evening to refine her work. Her interactions with Daniel became more frequent, and she appreciated his constructive feedback and guidance. One evening, as she was working late, Daniel approached her workstation. "You're making good progress, Emma," he said, examining her latest piece. "Thank you, Mr. Parker," Emma replied, stepping back to look at her work. "I'm trying to apply what we've been learning in the sessions." Daniel nodded, his gaze thoughtful. "You're starting to let go of your need for perfection. That's good. Art isn't about control, it's about expression and connection. Keep pushing yourself." Emma felt a surge of pride at his words. She knew she still had a long way to go, but she was determined to keep growing and improving. She spent the next few days experimenting with different styles and techniques, constantly challenging herself to step outside her comfort zone. One afternoon, Daniel announced a special project for the group. They were to collaborate on a large mural that would be displayed at the workshop's final exhibition. Each artist would contribute a section, and the mural would represent their collective journey and growth. The project was daunting, but also exciting. Emma worked closely with Leo, Rachel, Javier, and the other artists, discussing their ideas and brainstorming how to integrate their styles into a cohesive piece. The collaboration was a learning experience in itself, requiring them to balance their individual visions with the group's overall concept. As they worked on the mural, Emma felt a deep sense of connection with her fellow artists. They shared their struggles, successes, and insights, supporting each other through the creative process. The mural began to take shape, a vibrant tapestry of colors, textures, and emotions. One evening, as they were putting the finishing touches on the mural, Emma took a step back and looked at the work they had created. It was a powerful representation of their journey, a testament to their growth and resilience. She felt a surge of pride and accomplishment, knowing that she had been part of something truly special. The final days of the workshop were a whirlwind of activity. Emma focused on completing her individual pieces for the exhibition, incorporating the feedback and lessons she had learned. She felt a sense of fulfillment and excitement, eager to showcase her work and see how far she had come. The night of the final exhibition arrived, and the studio was transformed into a gallery space. The mural was the centerpiece, surrounded by the individual works of each artist. The room buzzed with energy as attendees, including critics, collectors, and fellow artists, admired the art on display. Emma's heart raced as she watched people examine her paintings, their expressions ranging from admiration to deep contemplation. She felt a sense of validation and pride, knowing that her hard work had paid off. Daniel approached her during the event, his expression one of quiet satisfaction. "You've done well, Emma. Your growth over the past few weeks has been remarkable." "Thank you, Daniel," Emma replied, her voice filled with gratitude. I couldn't have done it without your guidance and the support of everyone here. He nodded, a rare but genuine smile on his face. Remember, this is just the beginning. Keep pushing yourself and never stop growing. As the night drew to a close, Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment and anticipation for the future. The workshop had been a transformative experience, challenging her to grow and refine her craft. She had discovered new depths to her talent and confidence in her abilities, and she was ready to continue her journey as an artist. Emma's experience at the workshop had been a pivotal moment in her artistic journey. With Daniel's guidance and the support of her fellow artists, she had grown and evolved, discovering new depths to her talent. The final exhibition was a celebration of their collective journey and a testament to their resilience and creativity. Emma knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and opportunities, but she was ready to embrace them with confidence and determination. The days following the final exhibition were filled with a mix of relief and reflection for Emma. The workshop had been an intense and transformative experience, pushing her beyond her limits and helping her discover new aspects of her artistic identity. But now, with the studio quiet and her fellow artists dispersed, she found herself alone with her thoughts and her canvases. Emma spent the next morning tidying her studio space, carefully packing away her supplies and organizing her sketches. As she worked, her mind wandered back to the various lessons and critiques from the workshop. Daniel's words echoed in her head. Art isn't about control, it's about expression and connection. Determined to continue her growth, Emma decided to embark on a new series of paintings. She wanted to delve deeper into the themes that had emerged during the workshop: vulnerability, resilience, and the complexity of human emotions. With renewed focus, she began sketching out her ideas, letting her instincts guide her. As the days turned into weeks, Emma immersed herself in her new project. She experimented with different techniques, layering colors and textures to create depth and emotion in her work. She often lost track of time, painting late into the night, driven by a newfound sense of purpose. One afternoon, while she was working on a particularly challenging piece, her phone buzzed with a message from Leo. "Hey Emma, a few of us are meeting up for coffee. Want to join?" Emma smiled, grateful for the invitation. She realized she had been so absorbed in her work that she had neglected her social life. She quickly replied, agreeing to meet them at a nearby cafe. The cafe was bustling with activity when Emma arrived. She spotted Leo, Rachel, and Javier sitting at a corner table, their faces lighting up as she approached. They greeted her warmly, and she felt a rush of happiness at seeing her friends again. "Emma, it's been too long," Rachel said, giving her a hug. "How have you been?" "Busy," Emma admitted with a laugh. "I've been working on a new series of paintings. The workshop really inspired me." "That's great to hear," Leo said, nodding approvingly. "We've all been pretty inspired too. It's amazing how much we've all grown." They spent the next hour catching up, sharing their experiences and insights from the workshop. Emma felt a sense of camaraderie and support, knowing that they were all on similar journeys of self-discovery and growth. As they chatted, Leo mentioned an upcoming group exhibition at a well-known gallery. "They're looking for artists to showcase their work. I think it would be a great opportunity for all of us." Emma felt a surge of excitement. "That sounds amazing. I'd love to be part of it." Rachel and Javier agreed, and they made plans to submit their work for consideration. The prospect of another exhibition filled Emma with renewed determination. She returned to her studio that evening, more motivated than ever to complete her new series. Over the next few weeks, Emma continued to push herself creatively. She explored new themes and techniques, allowing her emotions to guide her work. She found herself delving into deeper, more personal subjects, expressing her vulnerabilities and experiences through her art. One evening, as she was working on a particularly evocative piece, she received an unexpected visit. Daniel Parker stood at her studio door, his expression one of curiosity and respect. "Mr. Parker," Emma said, surprised but pleased. "What brings you here?" "I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd check in," Daniel replied, his gaze sweeping over her latest works. "I've heard about your progress and wanted to see it for myself." Emma felt a flush of pride as Daniel examined her paintings. His expression was thoughtful, and she could see a glimmer of approval in his eyes. "You've made remarkable progress, Emma," he said finally. "Your work has a new depth and emotional resonance. It's clear you've found your voice." "Thank you, Daniel," Emma replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. "The workshop was a turning point for me. Your guidance and the support of the other artists have made a huge difference." Daniel nodded, his gaze meeting hers. "Remember, this is just the beginning. Keep pushing yourself and exploring new avenues. You have a unique perspective, and the world needs to see it." Emma felt a surge of determination at his words. She knew she still had a long way to go, but she was ready to face the challenges ahead. With Daniel's encouragement and the support of her friends, she felt empowered to continue her artistic journey. The weeks leading up to the group exhibition were a blur of activity. Emma poured her heart and soul into her work, perfecting each piece and preparing for the showcase. She felt a sense of fulfillment and anticipation, eager to share her new creations with the world. The night of the exhibition arrived, and the gallery was filled with attendees. Emma's paintings were displayed prominently, each one telling a story of growth, vulnerability, and resilience. As she mingled with the guests, she received praise and admiration for her work, but what mattered most to her was the personal connection she felt with each viewer. Daniel approached her during the event, his expression one of quiet pride. "You've done it, Emma. Your work is powerful and moving. You should be proud." "Thank you, Daniel," Emma replied, her voice filled with emotion. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance and support." He nodded, a rare but genuine smile on his face. "This is just the beginning for you. Keep pushing yourself and exploring new horizons. Your journey is far from over." As the night drew to a close, Emma felt a profound sense of accomplishment and gratitude. She had found her voice as an artist, and she was ready to continue her journey with confidence and determination. Emma's journey of self-discovery and growth had led her to find her unique voice as an artist. With the support of Daniel and her fellow artists, she had pushed her limits and created powerful, evocative works. The group exhibition was a celebration of their collective journey and a testament to their resilience and creativity. Emma knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges and opportunities, but she was ready to embrace them with confidence and determination, knowing that she had the potential to achieve greatness. The success of the group exhibition left Emma feeling buoyant. Her work had been well received, and she felt a newfound sense of confidence and validation. She spent the following days basking in the afterglow, but soon, the familiar itch to create returned. She was eager to get back to her studio and continue pushing her artistic boundaries. As she immersed herself in her new projects, Emma found her thoughts frequently drifting to Daniel Parker. Their interactions had evolved from mentor and student to something more nuanced and complex. She appreciated his critical eye and valued his feedback, but she also found herself drawn to him on a personal level. There was a depth to Daniel that she wanted to explore, a vulnerability that she sensed beneath his stern exterior. One evening, as she was working late in her studio, Emma received a call from Daniel. "Emma, I wanted to discuss an idea with you. Are you free to meet for coffee tomorrow?" Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Of course, Daniel. I'd love to." They agreed to meet at a quaint cafe near Central Park, a favorite spot of Daniel's. The next day, Emma arrived early, her nerves tingling with anticipation. She chose a table by the window, the soft morning light filtering through the trees outside. Daniel arrived shortly after, greeting her with a warm smile. "Emma, it's good to see you. How have you been?" "I've been well, thank you. Still riding the high from the exhibition," Emma replied, returning his smile. As they settled into their conversation, Daniel's demeanor was more relaxed than usual. They talked about their recent projects, the challenges they faced, and their aspirations for the future. Emma found herself opening up to Daniel in a way she hadn't with anyone else, sharing her fears and dreams with a surprising ease. After some time, Daniel leaned in, his expression earnest. "Emma, I've been thinking about our conversations and the growth I've seen in your work. I believe you're ready for something more substantial, a project that will push you even further." Emma's curiosity was piqued. "What do you have in mind?" "There's an art residency program in Paris," Daniel explained. It's highly competitive and offers an incredible opportunity for artists to immerse themselves in their work, collaborate with other creatives, and gain international exposure. I think you should apply. Emma's eyes widened in surprise. Paris? That sounds amazing, but also intimidating. Do you really think I'm ready for something like that? Daniel's gaze was steady and reassuring. I do, Emma. You've shown remarkable growth and resilience. This residency could be the next step in your artistic journey. The idea of spending several months in Paris, surrounded by art and culture, was both exhilarating and terrifying. Emma felt a mix of excitement and self-doubt. I'll need to think about it, but thank you for believing in me, Daniel. They continued their conversation, the topic shifting to their shared love of art and the experiences that had shaped their careers. Emma felt a deepening connection with Daniel, sensing a mutual respect and understanding that went beyond their professional relationship. As they left the cafe, Daniel walked with her through Central Park. The crisp autumn air and the vibrant colors of the changing leaves created a serene atmosphere. They strolled in comfortable silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts. Emma, I've always admired your passion and dedication, Daniel said suddenly, breaking the silence. You remind me of why I fell in love with art in the first place. Emma looked up at him, her heart swelling with emotion. Thank you, Daniel. Your guidance has been invaluable to me. I've learned so much from you. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world around them seemed to fade away. There was a palpable tension, a connection that neither of them could deny. Emma felt her pulse quicken, unsure of what to say next. Daniel broke the silence, his voice gentle. Emma, I value our connection. I think we both know there's something more here, something worth exploring. Emma nodded, her heart racing. I feel it, too, Daniel. But I also want to make sure we're careful. Our professional relationship is important to me, and I don't want to jeopardize that. Daniel smiled, a hint of relief in his eyes. I agree. Let's take things one step at a time and see where this journey takes us. They continued their walk, the conversation flowing easily. Emma felt a sense of clarity and excitement about the future, both professionally and personally. She knew that the path ahead would be filled with challenges, but with Daniel by her side, she felt ready to face whatever came her way. In the days that followed, Emma threw herself into her work with renewed vigor. She decided to apply for the Paris residency, determined to seize the opportunity and continue her growth as an artist. She also found herself spending more time with Daniel, their bond deepening with each interaction. One evening, as they were working late at the studio, Daniel approached her with a thoughtful expression. Emma, I've been thinking about a collaborative project, something that combines our strengths and allows us to create something truly unique. Emma's interest was piqued. What kind of project? A series of installations that explore the intersection of emotion and technique, Daniel explained. We could use different mediums and styles to convey the complexity of human experience. I think it could be a powerful way to push both of us creatively. The idea excited Emma. That sounds incredible. I'd love to work on it with you. They spent the next few weeks brainstorming and sketching out ideas, their collaboration bringing a new level of energy and creativity to their work. The project challenged them both, pushing them to think outside the box and experiment with new techniques. As they worked late into the nights, their connection deepened. They shared stories, laughed together, and supported each other through the creative process. Emma felt a sense of fulfillment and joy that she had never experienced before. One night, as they were putting the finishing touches on a particularly challenging piece, Daniel looked at Emma, his eyes filled with warmth and admiration. Emma, I'm proud of what we've created together. This project is something truly special. Emma smiled, her heart full. I feel the same way, Daniel. Thank you for believing in me and pushing me to grow. Their gazes locked, and in that moment, the unspoken feelings between them became undeniable. Daniel took a step closer, his expression tender. Emma, I. Before he could finish, Emma closed the distance between them, her lips meeting his in a gentle, heartfelt kiss. The world seemed to pause, and in that instant, everything felt right. When they finally pulled away, Daniel's eyes were filled with emotion. Emma, I care about you deeply. Let's take this journey together, wherever it leads. Emma nodded, her heart soaring. Yes, Daniel. Together. As they embraced, Emma felt a profound sense of connection and hope for the future. Their professional relationship had grown into something beautiful and meaningful, and she was excited to see where their journey would take them next. Emma and Daniel's growing connection had brought them closer than ever, both professionally and personally. Their collaborative project had challenged them to push their creative boundaries, and their bond had deepened into a heartfelt and meaningful relationship. With the promise of new opportunities and adventures ahead, Emma felt ready to embrace the future with confidence and excitement, knowing that she and Daniel were stronger together. The days following their shared kiss were a whirlwind of emotions and activity for Emma and Daniel. They continued to work on their collaborative project, their bond deepening with each passing day. Despite the intense focus on their art, the underlying current of their developing relationship added a new dimension to their interaction. They navigated this new territory cautiously, aware of the need to maintain their professional integrity while exploring their personal connection. Emma found herself in a delicate balance, trying to manage her growing feelings for Daniel and her commitment to her art. Their project, which had started as an exploration of emotion and technique, had become a canvas for their evolving relationship. Each piece they created together was a testament to their shared journey, blending their individual styles into a cohesive and powerful expression of their bond. One evening, as they were working late in the studio, Emma felt the weight of their unspoken feelings pressing down on her. The room was filled with the quiet hum of their creative energy, but there was a tension that neither of them could ignore. Daniel had been unusually quiet, his focus intense as he worked on a particularly intricate section of their installation. "Daniel," Emma began, breaking the silence, "we need to talk about what's happening between us." Daniel looked up from his work, his eyes meeting hers with a mixture of apprehension and hope. He set down his brush and walked over to where Emma was standing, his expression serious. "I know, Emma," he said softly. "I've been thinking about it too. We need to be honest with each other." Emma nodded, taking a deep breath. "I care about you, Daniel, and I value our professional relationship, but I also can't deny my feelings for you. I don't want to jeopardize what we've built together, both in our art and in our connection." Daniel reached out, gently taking her hands in his. "I feel the same way, Emma. Our connection is important to me, and I want to explore it. But we need to be careful. We need to communicate and make sure we're both on the same page." They stood there for a moment, holding hands and letting the weight of their words sink in. It was a tentative truce, an agreement to navigate their relationship with care and honesty. Over the next few weeks, Emma and Daniel found a new rhythm. They continued to work on their project, their collaboration growing stronger with each passing day. Their conversations were filled with a new openness, as they shared their thoughts and feelings with each other. They made a conscious effort to maintain a balance between their personal connection and their professional commitment. One afternoon, as they were nearing the completion of their project, Daniel approached Emma with a thoughtful expression. "Emma, I've been thinking about the Paris residency. Have you made a decision?" Emma had been mulling over the idea for weeks, weighing the opportunity against the challenges it would bring. The residency was a chance to immerse herself in a new environment, to push her artistic boundaries even further. But it also meant time away from Daniel and their burgeoning relationship. "I've decided to apply," Emma said finally. "It's an incredible opportunity, and I think it would be good for my growth as an artist. But I want us to stay connected, to continue our collaboration even while I'm away." Daniel's face lit up with pride and encouragement. "I'm glad to hear that, Emma. I think the residency will be amazing for you. And don't worry, we'll find a way to stay connected. Our collaboration doesn't have to end just because you're in Paris." With renewed determination, Emma submitted her application for the residency. She poured her heart and soul into her portfolio, showcasing the growth and depth she had achieved over the past months. As she awaited the decision, she and Daniel continued to work on their project, putting the finishing touches on their installation. The night of their project's unveiling arrived, and the gallery was filled with anticipation. The room was transformed, each piece a testament to their shared journey and artistic evolution. The installation was a stunning blend of emotion and technique, capturing the complexity of their connection and the depth of their creativity. As Emma and Daniel mingled with the guests, they received praise and admiration for their work. The installation was a resounding success, and Emma felt a profound sense of accomplishment and pride. She knew that their collaboration had pushed her to new heights, and she was grateful for the journey they had taken together. After the event, as they were packing up their supplies, Daniel turned to Emma with a thoughtful expression. "Emma, I want you to know that no matter what happens with the residency, I'm here for you. Our connection is important to me, and I want to support you in any way I can." Emma felt a surge of gratitude and affection. "Thank you, Daniel. Your support means the world to me. I'm excited for the future, whatever it holds." In the weeks that followed, Emma received the news she had been hoping for. She was accepted into the Paris residency. The excitement and anticipation were overwhelming, but she knew that this was the next step in her artistic journey. She and Daniel made plans to stay connected, discussing ways to continue their collaboration across the distance. As Emma prepared for her departure, she felt a mix of emotions. She was eager to embrace the opportunities that awaited her in Paris, but she also felt the weight of leaving behind the life and connections she had built in New York. Daniel's unwavering support and encouragement gave her the strength to move forward, knowing that their bond would endure. On the day of her departure, Daniel accompanied her to the airport. They stood together at the gate, the reality of their separation sinking in. "Emma, I believe in you," Daniel said, his voice filled with conviction. "You're going to do amazing things in Paris, and we'll find a way to make this work." Emma smiled, tears of both sadness and joy in her eyes. "Thank you, Daniel. I couldn't have done this without you. I'll miss you, but I know we'll stay connected." They embraced, the moment filled with a mix of emotions. As Emma boarded the plane, she felt a sense of excitement and anticipation for the future. She knew that the journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but she was ready to face them with confidence and determination. As the plane took off, Emma looked out the window, the city of New York fading into the distance. She felt a sense of closure and new beginnings, knowing that her journey with Daniel was far from over. Their connection had given her the strength and inspiration to pursue her dreams, and she was ready to embrace the future with open arms. Emma's departure for Paris marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. With Daniel's support and their shared commitment to their connection, she felt ready to face the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. Their journey together had been transformative, pushing them both to new heights and deepening their bond. Emma knew that the future was filled with possibilities, and she was excited to see where her artistic journey would take her next, knowing that Daniel would always be a part of her life.